Yeah. We're live.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's 3 p.m. and I will call this meeting to order. Does any member of our committee have pecuniary interest in the variances requested before us?
I don't.
You're okay. First order of business is to approve the minutes of the meeting of June the 29th, 2023.
I'll make a motion to approve the minute.
Do I have a seconder? No. Any discussion on this? Okay, all in favor? Motion carried. We have an application for consent on minor variance B-01-2023. And it's on property owned by Mr. Paul Witz. The address is 365 Victoria Ave. The purpose of this minor variance application is to sever an existing 771.68 square meter lot into two lots. Lots are currently 771.68 meters. Proposers to split it into two lots of 351.79 square meters and 419.89 square meters. The Planning Act requires that a public meeting be held in order to allow the committee to receive input from the general public about the proposed variance. Notices of this meeting have been posted and circulated to owners in the area affected as well as agencies. At this point, a staff report will be presented by Mr. Jared Preston. Would you go ahead, please?
Yep. Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the committee, as well as public. I'm Jared Preston. I am the planner for the County of Lambton and Village of Point Edward, and I'll be presenting the severance application. So, like I said, the applicant is seeking a consent to sever a 771.68 square meter residential lot into two lots. The retained lot being 751.79 square meters and the size of the proposed severed lot being 419.89 square meters. Is that okay? So this first site photo is taken from the road of the proposed semi-detached dwelling that is under construction right now. This is a view of it facing Albert Street. So construction being done as well on that side. That's a site photo of the west side of the property under construction. There's a site photo of the neighboring property on Victoria Avenue. And the site photo of the adjacent property across the street on Victoria Avenue. And other photos of adjacent properties across the street on Albert. This is an aerial photo showing 365 Victoria Avenue. It's highlighted in blue. Zoned R residential 1 R1 and semi-detached dwellings are permitted on the site. This is the aerial photo showing the proposal. The proposed retained and severed lots shown in blue and purple. Upon review, staff found that the severed proposal is consistent with the Planning Act, provincial policy statement, county official plan, Village of Point Edward official plan, and zoning bylaw. Both the severed and retained parcels meet the minimum lot size, and both the severed and retained lots exceed the minimum lot area requirements of 300 square meters. So it's recommended that Point Edward Committee of Adjustment approve consent application B-01-2023 with the following conditions that are listed on page 1 of the planning report.
Thank you. Who would like to speak in favor of the application?
Any questions?
Thank you, members of the committee. Paul Wicks, the applicant here today, and obviously in favor of it. And just would like to let you know that 120 Alexandria was also basically the same building and same scenario, and it was passed a couple of years ago. And sorry, that one mixed up. 18 and 24th Street is the same. And also, it actually, we need a minor variance on that one, where this one doesn't. That's all I can say. Thank you very much.
One in Fourth Street's the one you built too close to the line, isn't it?
Sorry?
One in Fourth Street was the one that you wound up getting, the surveyor got it wrong or something.
Yeah.
You
so-
encroached on the other people's property.
Exactly. So they needed a minor variance after the fact.
Yeah,
Right. So I think we were up in front of, Mario Fazio came up. In front of the committee a while back, we were trying to put a 1 floor. On the property, and that was turned down, so I went to, Robinson and said, I want something that'll fit. And this is the one he had come up with, so we didn't need any, minor variances on it to be able to put it on the property.
and this one's fitting.
This one fits, yes.
Must apologize, I skipped a step. I never asked if there were anyone with questions for our planner, Jared. Is there anyone with questions?
I do. Question. Are we asking for forgiveness here? Because this is something that was done after the fact. You had the drawings and you had the plot plan and stuff.
No,
So that's
the other.
No, you won't
That's
be,
the other one?
that's the other one.
That's the
This
other one?
one met all the setbacks, lot coverage.
You're correct. I'll correct myself. Okay.
This one going right.
Moving on, is there anyone wishing to speak in opposition to the application? Or online either? Is there any correspondence to be read?
There has been none received.
Are there any further comments? Are there any questions from our committee members?
I would move the approval of the application with the proposed considerations of the planner.
So a motion to approve the application subject to the conditions recommended in the report.
Could I have a seconder, please?
I'll second it.
Motion carried. Should we be reading the conditions?
You can read them if you want.
Should I be reading it?
I think it doesn't hurt. Have you got the report there handy?
I have the report there handy. I can
Yeah,
read
you
them as
can cover
well.
the conditions if you could.
Yeah, just give me a second. Find them in here and then I will. Oh,
I have them right here.
okay, you have them right here. Perfect. I know they were just double-sided here. I have it right here. Okay. Yeah, so condition, there's, I think there's about 3 conditions here and I'll just read them off. So condition 1 is being that the certificate of consent under section 5342 of the Planning Act shall be given within 2 years of the date of the notice of decision. The request for the certificate of consent shall be accompanied by a written submission that details how each of the conditions of the severance have been fulfilled. That if the conditions are not fulfilled in the 2-year period, the consent expires. There is no ability for it to be extended. Condition number 2. That if necessary, a draft reference plan be prepared by an Ontario land surveyor for the purposes of facilitating the transaction of consent application B01-2023, and that this plan be approved by the village prior to being deposited with the land registry office. The reference plan shall be submitted in digital format and be geo-referenced. And the third condition is that the owner's solicitor provides a transfer and preparation to the village, together with a deposited reference plan, if necessary, and a schedule describing the land to be transferred for the purposes of the issuance of a certificate of consent. And those are the 3 conditions.
Thank you. Did we vote on this already?
No.
Okay.
No, we have a mover in a second, or we need to.
Okay, then, all in favor of the motion? Motion carried. Appeals may be made to the local planning appeal tribunal against the decision of this committee within the prescribed time frame. If you wish to be notified of the decision of the Committee of Adjustment in respect to the proposed minor variance, you must provide a written request. Our next order of business is to consider the minor variance application A-03-2023. Again, property owned by Mr. Wicks. Address is 315 Victoria Ave.
The purpose of the minor variance application is to seek relief from the following development standards for semi-detached dwelling under the comprehensive zoning bylaw 25 of 2012. Required minimum side yard width for a semi-detached dwelling 3.0 meters. Proposed minimum here is proposed minimum side yard width for semi-detached dwelling approximately 1.85 meters. The Planning Act requires the public meeting be held in order to allow the committee to receive input from the general public about the proposed variance. Notices of this meeting have been posted and circulated to owners in the area as well as affected agents. Staffing report will be presented by our planner, Mr. Jared Preston.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Since the minor variance and the consent application go together, I put it all in the same presentation, but we will address the vote for the minor variance first and then the consent after, because they have to be done separately.
Yes.
All right. So I am addressing both the minor variance A03-2023 and the consent B01-2023 for this application. As mentioned before, the applicant is seeking relief from zoning bylaw 25 of 2012 for residential R1 zone provisions to reduce the minimum side yard width from 3 to 1.85 meters. A permit was given for this application, so the semi-detached building is under construction, and we'll speak on those details a little bit after my presentation here. The consent application that goes along with it, the applicant is proposing to create 2 lots, each with a lot area of approximately 508.12 square meters. So very similar sizes. And like I mentioned before, this property, there's currently a semi-detached one being constructed. Just gonna go over some site photos for the property. Oh,
It's just, I can't do it so both people in the room and people watching online can see.
oh, I can see
So,
it for myself. Yeah.
yes.
Okay. So the first site photo is of 315 Alexandria Avenue, and which is under construction, as you can see. The second photo shows the east side of the property and part of the side yard. The second photo shows the neighboring property to the east. The fourth site photo shows the west side of the property, as well as the side yard on the west side. The fifth photo shows the neighboring property to the west side. This photo shows adjacent properties that are across the street on Alexandra Avenue. This is an aerial photo of 315 Alexandra Avenue. It's highlighted in blue. Like I said, it's in a residential R1 zone, does permit semi-detached dwellings. And this aerial photo shows the minor variances that are being proposed, and the side yard setback being asked for is 1.85 meters. This is an aerial photo of the proposed severance, the severed lot in purple and the retained lot in blue. So first I'm going to go over our application review for the minor variance, and then I'm going to do the consent after. So staff found that this minor variance proposal is consistent with all applicable policies, the Planning Act, the provincial policy statement, county official plan, Point Edward official plan, and zoning bylaw. It meets all 4 tests of a minor variance, and staff found that reducing a side yard setback to 1.85 meters for a semi-detached dwelling in an urban neighborhood such as this is considered appropriate. The proposed side yard width reduction will have little impact to side and rear yard access. Upon reviewing the proposed consent for the same property, staff found that severance proposal is consistent with the Planning Act, provincial policy statement, county official plan, Point Edward official plan, and Point Edward zoning bylaw. Both the severed and retained parcels meet the appropriate minimum lot size, and both the severed and retained lots exceed the minimum lot area requirement of 300 square meters. So for the minor variance application A03-2023, staff recommend that application be approved with the following conditions that are listed on page 1 of the planning report. And I can read them out right now. There's only one condition. And that is that any changes to the site plan and elevation drawings from those provided with this application will require a new variance application. And the recommendation for consent application B02-2023 is that it be approved with the following conditions listed on page 1 of the planning report. And I'll read those as well for this. That the certificate of consent under section 5342 of the Planning Act shall be given within 2 years of the date of the notice of decision. The request for the certificate of consent shall be accompanied by a written submission that details how each of the conditions of severance have been fulfilled. That if the conditions are not fulfilled in that 2-year period, the consent expires and there's no ability to be extended. Second condition being that if necessary, a draft reference plan be prepared by an Ontario land surveyor for the purposes of facilitating the transaction of consent application B02-2023, and that this plan be approved by the village prior to being deposited with the land registry office. The reference plan shall be submitted in digital format and be geo-referenced. And the last condition, that the owner's solicitor provide a transfer in preparation to the village, together with a depositive reference plan, if necessary, and a schedule describing the land to be transferred for the purposes of the issuance of a certificate of consent. That concludes my application, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Preston. Are there any questions for Mr. Preston?
Can I ask my question again?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry about the other one. Originally, the original drawings and whatnot showed that the setback was less than what you're requesting. So are we asking for forgiveness here now after the fact that because you built the place? And now is it no?
Through the chair,
Yeah,
when the error was made by both the the surveyors as well as the county's building and plan departments, I wasn't there during the time, so we have brought Corinne, who's the manager of building services, and she will speak upon that.
sure, thank you.
So if I can.
Good.
The side yard setbacks, the building inspector had made an error in setbacks on the application.
Okay.
Human error, she missed it. So then it was discovered when the application come forward with the severance. When we reviewed the application, it was reviewed for the setbacks, which are asked for the variance in the application, and it meets Ontario Building Code. There has been several other variances approved within the village prior, the proper way. Before with further increased setbacks. Okay, so we accept full responsibility for the error with regards to the setback, but it was incorrect on the plan that was submitted. And the building inspector also reviewed it in error in the wrong section of your zoning bylaw, looking at it as a single family dwelling as opposed to a semi-detached dwelling at the time.
Fair enough. Okay, can I ask another question?
So
I looking at the drawing here or my photo here, looking at the west side of the building. And noticing the window wells come up fair distance from the building itself, as well as the drip line from the eaves and whatnot. Is that in consideration of all that as well?
yeah, so those are permitted encroachments in the zoning bylaw. So Mr. Wicks has constructed in conformance with those parts of the bylaw. So there's no further variances required for those.
Okay, answer my questions. Okay, thank you.
Are there any further questions for Mr. Preston? Okay, would you like to speak in favor of the application?
Yes, of course I would. Thank you, Dan. I wasn't gonna throw the county under the bus. It wasn't my plan, but you did it yourself. Anyway, so originally, I went to Scott Robertson and said, I want something that'll fit, that we can sever on the property. So he did his due diligence and talked with the county. It was prior to this gentleman being the planner at that time, and we came up with that particular layout. I also wanted to bring up 120 Alexandra. It's the same house, same duplex, same size lot. I know there was a severance, issued on that one and a severance, so. But I want to let you know that the town does a wonderful job. I wish that they would quit and move to the city. The city.
So just one point of clarification, if I may, Mr. Wick spoke to, there was a variance on that one for 120. You used the word severance twice, but just so you know, it's the same variance and the severance.
Yes.
Through the chair, I just, looks like Ken has his hand up, our manager from Plan Development Services.
Okay, so right to speak.
Okay, Mr. Mellinson, please speak up.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I won't turn my camera on as I'm homesick today, so nobody would want to see that, but I will just add to what Ms. Nada and Mr. Preston have noted, just that we have flagged the fact that there are some setback curiosities in the low density zone in your bylaw for the zoning bylaw review, which we are planning to launch probably late this year, early next year. So stay tuned for that.
Thank you. Okay, moving on then. Is there anyone speaking in opposition to this proposal? Is there any correspondence to read?
No, we've had a number of phone calls asking questions about the process, the timing of, the severance. Why are we doing the severance after the house is being built? The explanation has been provided and people seem to be happy with that, but we haven't had any official correspondence opposing the application.
Thank you. And are there any further questions from our committee members?
No.
Okay, could I have a motion, please, addressing just A-03-2023?
No.
Do I have a seconder? All in favor?
Just to be clear, a motion to approve, I'm assuming.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah, motion approved.
All in favor? All in favor? Motion carried.
One amendment to the motion.
Yes.
Subject to the
Conditions.
conditions.
Yeah, subject to the one condition and the minor variance, and then there's gonna be 3 on the consent application.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, and agree.
Been a while since we've done this, so I think I'm missing a bit. Appeals may be made to the local planning appeal tribunal against the decision of this committee within a prescribed time frame. If you wish to be notified of the decision of the Committee of Adjustment with respect to the proposed minor variance, you must provide a written report. Next order of business is the application for consent on minor variance B-02-2023. And as we've been discussing previously, the purpose of the consent application is to separate an existing 1,018.64 square meter lot into 2 lots. We've already gone through the detail on that, so I will skip that. Planning notice act requires that the public meeting be held in order to allow the committee to receive input from the general public about the proposed variance. Notices of this meeting have been posted and circulated to owners in the area as well as affected agencies. A staffing report has already been prepared by or presented by Mr. Preston. Do you have anything further you'd like to add?
To the consent application, no, not this time.
Okay, is there anyone wishing to speak in favor? And thank you. And is there anyone in opposition who wishes to speak? Are there any further questions from our committee members? Is there any correspondence to read?
there is none.
Are there any further comments?
Just one question. I missed looking at, missed it in the report. The coverage is less than 35%.
Yeah, there's no variance required for lot coverage.
No,
No, the variance is only for those side yard setbacks that were missed previously. All lot coverage and lot area was all met.
Thank you. Is the committee prepared to make a decision at this time? Could I have a motion
Motion again,
to approve?
to approve. Motion to approve.
And do I have a seconder?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor? Motion carried. Appeals may be made to the local planning appeal tribunal against the decision of this committee within the prescribed time frame. If you wish to be notified of the decision of the Committee of Adjustment in respect to the proposed minor variance, you must provide a written request. Is there any new business to bring up?
I have none.
Okay, we have a motion to adjourn. Can I have a seconder?
I got it.
All in favor?